Hello again. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and welcome to the Bernie Show here on SportsHubSTL.com, the place where you can find all of my videos, columns, and the podcasts of the videos, plus all kinds of great content by everyone here at the Hub, including live stream post-game shows after, all the teams. But since it's baseball season, Cardinals, you get a lot of great Cardinals coverage here, a lot of great Blues coverage, and all the other sports as well. I'm proud to work for Sports Hub STL. The Bernie Show is presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Well, the Cardinals are in Kansas City for the weekend. It's part one of the annual I-70 rivalry series. The Royals will head on over to St. Louis for part two. That'll be a three-game series that gets underway at Busch Stadium on June the 3rd. I like this rivalry series a lot. It's fun. It's colorful. These two Missouri teams have played 128 regular season games against each other since 1997. And St. Louis is 76-52 against the Royals, 76-52. So there's a little bragging rights there. And there was a time, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to get into stuff that some of you might like or might surprise you. Some of you might not like it. Some of you might even get mad at me pointing a couple things out. You're just going to have to watch the whole thing. I'm trying to get through this as rapidly as I can. But you know me, I'd like to zig and zag a little bit. There was a time when this rivalry was limited to two bragging rights claims. Royals fans could chortle and kind of, poke fun at Cardinals fans about the fact that their team beat the Cardinals in the 1985 World Series with a little help from an umpire, of course. But then again, I've always said that was awful, but the Cardinals screwed some things up in that sixth game as well. But if we want to blame everything on the umpire, it's all right. I mean, there's certainly enough grounds to do that. Now, on the other side of this state rivalry, the Cardinals fans could point out to the 11 World Series titles and 19 National League pennants won by their team. Cardinals fans could also make fun of the Royals for firing the future Hall of Fame manager, Whitey Herzog, one of the great managers of his era, of his time. So, yeah, they even though he did really well in Kansas City, the Royals fire him, and he just picks up and moves across the state. He goes to work for Gussie Busch, and he leads the Cardinals to a World Series championship and two NL pennants from 1982 through 1987. Now, to be fair, see, I am trying to be a fair, gracious, if not always civil host here on the Bernie Show. The Kansas City Royals didn't come into existence until 1969, and KC along the way certainly has had some high moments. But even then, if we want to count the flags and the trophies, let's start from 1969 when the Royals came into being. And yeah, I know they're an expansion team, although they were a good expansion team as that goes. And yet, it took them a little while to get going. But let's just do the raw count since the start of the 1969 season when the Royals came into existence. And the Cardinals, of course, been in existence forever, but that's neither here nor there. All right, since 1969, postseason appearances, Cardinals 20, Royals 10. League pennants, Cardinals 7, Royals 4. World Series titles, Cardinals 3, Royals 1. There's another category to look at. There's a few. What about winning seasons? Okay, from 1969 through 2024, the Cardinals had 40 winning seasons, and the Royals had 22. 40 to 22 for winning seasons. One other thing to look at about the Royals, after they won that 1985 World Series, they made it. I always just, this always just, I'm stopping myself because every time I look this up and I see the numbers, I'm like, wow. Now that's what it looks like, or that's what it must feel like at a place where there's just been so much futility for decades. So, and here's what I mean by that. In other words, if you want to know what losing and suffering through losing and having no hopes whatsoever in so many seasons, here it is. I took too long to get there, and I apologize. Since winning the World Series in 1985, Kansas City's made it to the postseason only 3 times through 2024. Now, I'm not including 1994 in this count because there were no playoffs. Remember, the players and the owners got into their labor battle, and the owners shut the game down, blah, blah, blah. So it's really 38 seasons we're talking about where there was postseason baseball. So Kansas City Royals fans have followed a team that has failed to make the playoffs in 35 of the last 38 seasons. And again, that doesn't include 1994. I kind of laughed when I was doing my show on KFNS, and I was talking about, how the Royals were looking better, whatever year it was. It might have been early 2024. I really don't remember, through 23 sometime. And the Cardinals were really bad in 23. It must have been 23. And I would get text messages from this one guy. He said, like, boy, I want to move to Kansas City, just so I can support a winning team. And the guy was just joking, but there was some truth in it too, because it just shows you, the Royals made the postseason 3 times since, including last year, 3 times since 1986. And yet St. Louis baseball is hell on earth because the Cardinals went down for a while here. Yeah. We're living in hellfire. So anyway, go ahead and do that. Go support a dynasty team like the Royals. I mean, I just love this stuff. I have friends who says, are people there really all that upset? Are they really whining about I said, well, it's just a minority. They're a very loud, very visible presence on social media, but yeah, they basically are cuckoo, because they have no perspective on how difficult it is to win and win and win and win and win. And so a downturn at some point is inevitable. And may I repeat for the 1 millionth time, Bill DeWitt and John Mosey let the downturn happen. It's their fault. Never should have happened. Okay, we got that out of the way. That said, I don't think Cardinals fans had to miss postseason 35 times in the last 38 seasons. That's just me. All right, the Cardinals have had some droughts, but nothing like the Royals. After all, the Cardinals have qualified for the postseason 17 times since Bill DeWitt and his partners purchased the franchise before the 1996 season. So during that time, 1996 through 2024, only the Braves and Yankees competed in more postseasons than DeWitt's Cardinals. And again, the downturn hit us. I like this team this year. I like them a lot, and they're a lot of fun to watch, and the energy's great. We'll see how it all turns out. But it's been a pretty damn good run under Bill DeWitt. The fact that they let things slide goes against them. But overall, I mean, any sane person would acknowledge that overall, it has been an extraordinary era of baseball, winning baseball in St. Louis since 1996. Now we're enduring some tough times, relatively speaking, whatever. But before the Cardinals fans get too haughty and look down on the Royals and their fans, and that's all part of the sport. That's all part of the good times. You just tease each other, you give each other a hard time. It's no big deal. But there's some stuff I want to talk about that, hold off on making fun of the Royals and their fans. You would just think about holding off on that for a minute. Speaking of a minute, well, let me take a minute to tell you about DraftKings and their daily pick six challenge. The Major League regular season is 25% or so completed? Long way to go, but we do have a better understanding of the teams and the players. So if you're a baseball fan in a great baseball town and wherever you're watching this and you think you know Major League Baseball or the players and the teams, but this is about players more than the teams. But if you think you know about stuff in a lot of other different sports that have nothing to do with baseball, then put your knowledge to use and win the big cash prizes. Take your shot, man. Shoot your shot. In DraftKings Pick Six, you just focus on player stats. You select anywhere from 2 to 6 players, and you choose whether the individual player will go higher or lower on a specific stat that is set by DraftKings for that day. Yeah, it's really that simple, and it's a lot of fun. So many good options to choose from when selecting your Pick Six players to take that great shot at pulling in the cash money. Pick Six is available in our state, also California, Texas, Georgia, Missouri, and so many more. Did I say California? It doesn't matter. I think I've mentioned them all. You will enjoy tracking your selected players while the games are in progress. That's part of the fun, but the most entertaining part is winning, and you can do that at DraftKings. So it's very easy to get started. You just download the DraftKings app, which really has really functions great, by the way. It's so easy. It's a pleasure to use. Just open an account once you download that app, and then you choose your sport, you pick your players, and it's go time after that. New players at DraftKings get $50 in Pick Six credits instantly with just a $5 entry. So download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to play $5, but get $50 in Pick Six credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, let's get back to the Cardinals and the Royals and their I-70 rivalry, which resumes this weekend in Kansas City. Now, I spent the first section of this video talking about the Cardinals' advantage historically over the years over the Royals in terms of just winning through the decades. The Royals can't match the Cardinals' historical prominence. They can't match the Cardinals in terms of overall pennants and World Series won, and also the impressive number of times each team has competed in the postseason. Pretty impressive in terms of the Cardinals have had a pretty impressive percentage of that. But again, it's understandable because of the Royals just didn't start playing since 1969. So, and since 69, though, the Cardinals have had a great deal more success than the Royals. So I just wanted to reiterate that. However, what about the recent past? Should we look to the recent past? Is that the fair thing to do? Well, I think Cardinals fans who are disgruntled about the leadership of the franchise letting this thing slip, and again, you should be. I've raised hell about that too. Never should have happened. But if we look at the recent past, and I'll share some information with you, then you can understand why you look at this and say, how can the Royals be better than the Cardinals, right? That's what it comes down to. How can they be better than the Cardinals? And I'm talking about since the start of the 2014 season, and I'm talking about postseason success. And the Cardinals, not their fans, but the Cardinals should be embarrassed by this. From 2014 through 2024, the Cardinals did make the playoffs 6 times, twice as many times as the Royals, who made it 3 times. So that's one check mark for St. Louis. All right. And yeah, it's really important to get to the postseason as many times as you can, but it's also important, what you do in the postseason once you get there. And there was a time when the Cardinals did really, really well in the postseason, but those times really faded out. And if the goal is winning pennants and World Series, the Royals have done that, but done more of that than the Cardinals over the previous 11 seasons. And that's a fact, and there's no excuse for it. Sure, the Royals have had more losing seasons than the Cardinals since 2014. In fact, it's the Royals are peculiar in that there's a lot of losing. I mean, a lot of losing, and then there's a payoff, right? So the Cardinals have had just one losing season since 2014. The Royals have had more losses than wins in 7 of the last or the previous 11 seasons. So, okay, the Cardinals have avoided being really, really bad. They've avoided that more than the Royals have. But is that anything to brag about? I don't think so. I don't think we'll make fun of that one because if we look at the other side of this particular scorecard, it's kind of humiliating for St. Louis. The Cardinals haven't won the World Series since 2011, and boy, the years go by and they go by and they go by. That's 13 years since the last World Series parade. And then if the Cardinals don't win the World Series this year, and I'm saying that with a straight face, you never can rule anything out. 1999 Rams. Anyway, there hasn't been a World Series parade in St. Louis for 13 years, and it could be 14 by the end of this season. Probably will be. So the Royals won it all in 2015. They won a pennant in 14, and then they lost in the World Series in 14. Then they won it all in 2015. So yeah, they've come out ahead of the Cardinals in the World Series pursuit since the last time the Redbirds made it to the World Series and won it the World Series. They did get to the World Series in 2013, but Mike Matheny kept letting his pitchers challenge David Ortiz, and that's all she wrote. Anyway, from 2000, and the Royals, again, this is what I'm talking about. They're really interesting because there's a lot of bad losing baseball mixed in. But the bottom line is from 2015 through 2024, only 8 major league franchises won the World Series, and Kansas City's one of them, joining the Astros, Dodgers, Cubs, Red Sox, Braves, and Nationals. Now you say, well, that doesn't add up. It does, because the Dodgers and Astros each won 2 World Series over that time. And the Royals, Cubs, Red Sox, Braves, and Nationals each won 1. Okay, what about league pennants? I think this is funny. It had nothing to do really with the Cardinals, although, yeah, they're part of this quick check of the results. Since the start of 2014 through 2024, the Royals have seized 2 pennants, 2 American League pennants since 2014. The Cardinals, none. Well, yeah, of course, because they're not an American League. You know what I'm saying. The Cardinals haven't won a pennant at a time during a time period where the Royals have won 2. In fact, since 2014, check this out. And Kansas City fans ought to love this stuff. In fact, since the start of the 2014 season, the Royals have won more pennants than 27 major league franchises, all but the Astros and Dodgers. And believe me, I went to StatHead and Baseball Reference, and I double-checked it, triple-checked it. But they've won more pennants in the past 11 seasons than all but 27 teams. Just the Astros and the Dodgers have won more pennants over that time. So let this sink in a minute. Since 2014, the Royals have won more pennants than the Yankees, the Mets, the Cardinals, the Red Sox, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Giants. I could go on and on and on. There are a lot of losing seasons in the middle of that, but wow. I mean, the Royals have won more pennants than the Yankees, than the Mets since 2014. Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, one more category. What about postseason wins? Whether you won the World Series or the pennant or not. What about just postseason wins? Since the start of 2014, the small market Royals rank 4th in the majors with 22 postseason victories. In fact, only the Dodgers, Yankees, and Astros have more over that time. So they rank 4th among the 30 teams in postseason victories since 2014. And the Cardinals, since 2014, they have 9 postseason wins. That is 13 fewer postseason victories than the Royals during the same time period. Wow. Like I said, the Cardinals should be embarrassed. And if you're a Cardinals fan, listen, I'm celebrating the team we're watching on the field now. I like this team a lot, but we're talking about the Royals and the Cardinals and the way things have been in recent times. And so I think it was necessary. I'm not trying to bring anyone down, but the facts are the facts. And we'll see what this Cardinals team can do in 2025. And the Royals have a good team too, although they've been cooling down lately. I think they've lost 4 of their last 5 games, but their record's 25-20. Cardinals are 24-20. So, but just knowing that the Cardinals have won 13 fewer postseason games than the Royals since 2014, yeah, that's enough to bring you down feeling low. That's not my objective here. It isn't. But I do have another aspect of this that makes the Cardinals look even worse. So stay with me. It's also, I think, an appropriate time to talk to my fellow men about BlueChew. Gents, especially those of you around my age, 66, please listen to what I have to tell you. BlueChew can help you have a more pleasurable and fulfilling life with your significant other. Isn't that a good thing? I think it is. So why miss out? Why just kind of not do anything about this? I have no hesitation in making sure you know about the benefit and the value of BlueChew. Why? Because I've been there, done that. I don't feel uncomfortable at all in talking to you about this. This issue, you see, applies to a significant percentage of men in the United States, including me. So there's no reason to shy away from it and put your head down. Get some help you need. And you don't even have to leave your house to get BlueChew to come to you. BlueChew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced intimacy. Think of BlueChew as kind of a leadoff hitter when it's time to turn away from sports and put your attention and your focus on your partner. You will get your first month of BlueChew for free. You're just a few clicks away, and it's really easy to get going. You sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. BlueChew tablets are made and prepared in the United States, and they're shipped directly to your door. It's all done online. There's no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Just order, and you're all set. Trust Uncle Bernie here when I tell you that there's nothing more attractive to your partner than confidence, and BlueChew can help give you the confidence where it counts. And we got a special deal for our listeners. You try your first month of BlueChew free when you use the promo code Bernie. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code Bernie. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety info. And we thank BlueChew for sponsoring the Bernie Show. All right, I got a couple more things on the Cardinals-Royals rivalry and the state of the franchises in recent times. Number one, while the Cardinals have dominated this interleague matchup since it first began, it's not true in recent times. Beginning with 2022, the Royals and Cardinals are 6-6 against each other in 12 games. But since the start of the 23 season, the Royals have beaten the Cardinals 5 times in 8 games, and Kansas City has won 3 out of 4 at Busch Stadium. So, yeah, the Royals haven't had, if you go through all the years and years and years, they haven't had Pujols, Molina, Wainwright, Edmonds, Roland, Chris Carpenter, Matt Carpenter, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, and so many other baseball dignitaries since the start of this century. And the Royals have had so many losing reasons, I can't even comprehend, frankly, how Cardinals fans would act if the same thing happened to them. But the Royals have shown, there's a way to do this, even though you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get slapped around, but you can still rise above it and win pennants and World Series and rack up postseason victories. See, the Cardinals are in a downturn phase, as you know, and it's been a challenging time. But I'm not saying this for the first time, and I know it irritates some of you, and I'm not trying to intentionally do that. It's just the way I feel. I don't blame any Cardinals fan for being disappointed the way that this thing was allowed to kind of decline, because there's just no justification for that. But if you listen to some of the angriest fans, go on and on and on and on about it. Like I said earlier, you think that this was baseball hell and there's no escape. No, that would be Pittsburgh. Okay. I don't know how St. Louis fans feel. You'll get mad at me for this one too, but I'm not being a troll. It's true. I don't know how St. Louis sports fans feel about the Kansas City Chiefs. And yeah, the Chiefs haters in the St. Louis metro area are very loud and very adamant when they say it over and over and over and over and over again. Nobody cares about the Chiefs here. Okay. Gotcha, champ. That's your version, huh? Is that right? Well, sorry, but the television ratings for the Chiefs in St. Louis are absolutely phenomenal. And so, yeah, NFL fans in St. Louis have basically adopted the Chiefs. It doesn't mean you have to adopt them. You all root for who you want to root for. But if St. Louis has sort of matriculated to one NFL team, it's clearly the Chiefs. And you can deny that all you wish, but those TV ratings are booming in the St. Louis market. So that's some evidence, strong evidence, that tells me that the people who say nobody cares about the Chiefs here are 100% wrong. And listen, I know that it sort of goes both ways. I know that because I've heard from them. I know that in Kansas City that there are some Blues fans there. They wish they had an NHL team. And I know I'll never forget when the Blues were on their way to the Stanley Cup in 2019. Mahomes came over here. Kelsey came over here. Mahomes was wearing a Blues jersey. I mean, and he wore a Blues jersey after the Blues won the Stanley Cup. So, I mean, it's kind of a cool thing. And I know there's actually really good hockey fans in Kansas City. So I really can't estimate how many Blues fans are in Kansas City, but there's some. And so in some ways we kind of share things, right? They share the Blues, just in a general term, they share Blues hockey with us. We share, the people that want to admit the truth, we share the Chiefs in their success with Kansas City. So, and it's okay. It's okay. I've never been into one of this. Well, you got to hate that city over there. Why? Anyway, here's something else, though. Let me get off that before I become more irritating to you. There's something else here that we need to talk about when we look at the Royals and the Cardinals and the recent trends. So just a reminder, since 2014, the Royals have won more postseason games, league pennants, World Series than the Cardinals. And in the past couple of years, the Royals have got the best of the Cardinals in the regular season rivalry games. But okay, I wanted to recap that for a moment because what I'm about to tell you might make you a little ill. Since 2014, based on the information at Cots Contracts, the Cardinals have spent, since 2014, the Cardinals have spent approximately $480 million more than the Cardinals on 26-man payroll. Yeah, I said that. Approximately $480 million more than the Royals on payroll. Well, who's got more to show for that? The answer is obvious. If we're talking about postseason wins, pennants, a World Series. See, once again, it isn't always about how much a team spends. It's also about whether a team spends the money wisely in building a roster. And as the Royals have shown, again, even though they got to go through some really hard times, but they've also shown that, if you're going to lose, at least you're going to be in position to draft some good players and develop them. And the Royals are kind of an example of that, especially as time goes on. Boy, Bobby Witt Jr., what a player, right? See, but, I've said this so many times, but anytime I get a chance to say it again, I'm going to do it. I really kind of chuckle at the people who are just utterly obsessed with payroll and don't look at anything else. Listen, the Cardinals have blown the Milwaukee Brewers away in payroll since 2017, spending more than $500 million than Milwaukee since then. And for what? The Brewers have been the more successful team over that time, despite that huge disadvantage in payroll. They've done much better than the Cardinals. And lately, of course, as we said, the same can be applied to the Royals. They have more postseason success to show than the Cardinals over the previous 11 seasons, despite being outspent by the Cardinals by nearly $500 million over that time. Milwaukee and Kansas City have both had more recent success than the Cardinals, despite this huge gap between their payrolls. Remember, dollars aren't everything when it comes to building a baseball team. The Cardinals are doing better so far this season, or not only this season, they're doing better this season. I'm sorry, I got lost there in my own thoughts. The Cardinals are doing better so far this season than they did last year, on pace anyway, or in 2023, even though they slashed payroll by nearly $40 million this past off season. I mean, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times I say it or write it, or anybody says it or writes it. It's on the payroll. It's all about payroll. No, it isn't. It isn't always about the dollars. Can it be? Is it to your advantage if you have a lot more money to spend and you do spend it? Yeah, it can be to your advantage, but it isn't always about counting the payroll dollars. It's also about the sense, as in common sense. And the Cardinals have been lacking in that area. And I do give Bill DeWitt credit for bringing in Chaim Bloom to kind of rebuild this thing from the ground up, not rebuild as we're going to tear it all down, and it's going to be years to win again. No, I'm talking about just getting the player development machine working again, because that's where the Cardinals are going to need to thrive after letting that thing deteriorate, and especially with young starting pitching. The neglect has cost them a lot because they spend and spend and spend at the major league level, and they haven't had a lot to show for it in recent years. So, yep, not always the dollars, also up here, the cents. Thanks for watching The Bernie Show. Thanks to DraftKings. I sincerely and wonderfully appreciate all of you, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Thank you again for watching The Bernie Show.